Today, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be taking a look at Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 2022 NFL Draft Big Board, prospect rankings, whatever you want to call it. This was made on February 28th, so it is definitely very, very recent. And it's going to be really interesting because I do think Daniel Jeremiah is a very, very smart person in draft analyzing. Mel Kiper Jr. has his shots. Sometimes he misses, sometimes he nails them. Nothing but net, as I turn on the light. But Daniel Jeremiah, I think, is a very smart person. I think he could be one of the best NFL draft analysts, if not the best, in the crew right now. As I'm ready to stop rambling on about Daniel Jeremiah, let us take a look at his number one player, who is Aiden Hutchinson. This is a very interesting one. Aiden Hutchinson's a really, really good player. But something that a lot of people are just really not talking about as much is Aiden Hutchinson's winner personality. He is going out there to win, right? He is going to be the best player out on that field. Now, the only thing I do have with Aiden Hutchinson, he did only have 1 year where he played really, really well. Don't get me wrong, his past years with Michigan were pretty good as well. Nothing was compared to Aiden Hutchinson this year as a pass rusher. There's a reason why he was a Heisman finalist. He was super, super good. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I certainly do think Aiden Hutchinson could be the number one player on many people's draft board. As we get to number two, Ike Ekwonu. Interesting, very interesting. Now, Evan Neal is a bigger tackle. Ike Ekwonu is weird. Ike Ekwonu, whatever you call him, but still, Ekwonu is a really good player. He played so well for NC State this past year. Again, another problem with him, he wasn't that good. I mean, he was a decent player for NC State at guard, but he wasn't getting nearly, not even close, to the recognition that he was getting at guard than he is at tackle currently. So I think he should be a tackle in the league. There could be teams who are saying, hey, he played guard before, let's play him at guard. I don't know if he's a player who plays guard in the league. I think he's more of a tackle, but he's very powerful. As you can see, powerful tackle prospect, nasty play. He is probably the best run-blocking tackle in this class. I think that may not be a stretch. I think he is. Number 3, Kyle Hamilton goes up a spot, apparently. So Ike Ekwonu was at number 2 on his previous board as well. Hamilton, for me, is the best player in the draft because he can literally play anywhere. I've seen him pass rush, play linebacker, play safety. I don't know if he has played many corner, though. Literally, the guy can do everything. And 6'4", 220, he is huge. Kyle Hamilton, for me, is the best player in the draft. According to him, it's number 3. Very, very versatile player. Really do like Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. Sauce Gardner at 4. Now, I do think Ahmed Gardner is the best corner in the draft. I don't know if he's a top 5 player in the draft. Now, he's really talented. Don't get me wrong. He is, big size, like 6'1", or 6'2", or 6'3" in this case. But he's a great player. I don't see him in the top 5, but he is the best cornerback on my list. So I don't necessarily hate it. It's not the worst ranking for him. As Evan Neal is at number 5. And this is a weird one because I do like Evan Neal a ton. I like Evan Neal a lot. There are maybe technical issues with him in the league. I don't think there will be because I think his size and athleticism and his, strength, mauling capability make up for that. He's a very, very, very fun player to watch. At Alabama, of course, went to Alabama, but has done a great job just moving around the offensive line and being good at every single position that he's played. Guard, he was one of the top prospects in high school football that year. Coming in to Alabama, started at, maybe he played guard, but I think he started at tackle, right tackle. At the time, Alex Leatherwood was playing left tackle. This year, after Alex Leatherwood departed, he went and played left tackle and was still really, really good. I think he's probably my number 1 tackle in the class, unlike Daniel Jeremiah here, who has Ike Ekwonu above Evan Neal. But I really like Evan Neal as a player. I can see why teams would not want to take a shot if they think he needs a lot of work or refinement. I think those are false. I think he's going to be really, really good in the league. As you get to number 6, Garrett Wilson. Fun one. This is a very fun one here because I do like Garrett Wilson. He is not a top 10 player in the class for me. He is very reliable. He's a dynamic weapon. I don't really think he drops many passes in general. There's his picture. But apparently, Daniel Jeremiah has him in his top 10 in his first ranking as well. Wilson's a really, really cool player to watch at Ohio State. Again, I don't like where he's placed, but I do think he certainly could be the first receiver off the board. As you get to number 7. Ooh, don't like this one. Do not like this one. I was waiting for him to come up in the top 5, but he's at number 7. Now, the only reason why I think a team would pass up on Kayvon Thibodeaux, injury concerns. Maybe, run-stopping capability could come into that either as well, but not either. That's the wrong vocabulary term. But run-stopping capability as an edge rusher shouldn't be the best thing in the world. And Thibodeaux has done a good job of doing run stop. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not the best. The only reason right now why I could see a team pass up on Thibodeaux, injury concerns. That's all there is. He's so talented, and he was my number 1 player in the draft coming in. Certainly has taken a bit of a dip, but that doesn't make him any less of a good player. As 8, Nakobe Dean. I like this one. Like, people will say, oh, you didn't like Garrett Wilson at 6. Why do you like Nakobe Dean at 8? Because I like his blitzing capability. I like his versatility at the linebacker position because he's able to drop back in coverage. But he's also able to blitz the quarterback, generate pressure, fill gaps. Now, he is, like it says right here, he is kind of like 6'2", 228 or whatever it is. But Dean, I think, is just a very good player, And that's why I think this is a very good place to put him. As Devin Lloyd, back-to-back linebackers. I like Devin Lloyd as well. Again, good coverage, very good run-stopping ability, very good playmaking ability. Dean and Lloyd, though, while they may seem similar in certain ways, they're two very different players out there on the football field. Because you'll see Dean take a lot of blitzing snaps. I don't think Devin Lloyd was made to do that. I think he's mainly made for coverage and filling gaps. He's a really, really good player, like Devin Lloyd at 9. Trayvon Walker at 10. I waited for this guy to get attention. Same thing with Devontae Wyatt. Now, you don't know this about me, but I love Devontae Wyatt. The only reason I didn't have him in my mock drafts is because no one else was doing it. So it looked silly at the time. But Trayvon Walker, very good. I think he's a very, speed to power sort of thing. Very good. Release off the line. Again, just not feeling him in the top 10. But he's still a very, very good player. And a lot of people are really getting their hopes up on Trayvon Walker as a player. As we get to number 11, Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. Potential. All we're banking on here is the potential. I think he is a pretty good run stopper. And I think he can definitely get after the passer really, really well with his athleticism. But again, all potential. I don't know if he's the most, technical player on this list. As number 12, Trent McDuffie. I like how Stingley Jr. has not come up yet because that is something we need to talk about. I'll wait until we get to him, but Trent McDuffie is an extremely good player. Just does everything well. Very good zone corner, very good man corner, can tackle really well. He's really, really good. On the other side, you got a pretty talented player as well in Kyler Gordon. Now, I don't think Kyler Gordon is a first-round guy. I could see him sneaking into the first round, like, sort of a Peyton Turner, Joe Tryon kind of guy. Very talented. Not talented enough to go in the first round. Now, McDuffie, on the other hand, I think is a lock in the first round. I think he could even go top 10. I really love Trent McDuffie, and I think he's my number 2 corner in the draft. Drake London at 13. People are loving Drake London as a prospect because of his big size. 6'5", 210 or 2 whatever he is. He's so big. Now, a player that's getting overshadowed by Drake London, and he goes to North Dakota State. I'm pretty sure you draft people will know who I'm talking about. It's Christian Watson. He's also 6'5", extremely good body control. Hopefully, I see him on this list. But Drake London at number 13 did fall a bit for him, but I think he's gonna put you the stats. He's gonna give you the numbers. He's gonna just give you a reliable weapon. That's what Drake London is. That's what he did for USC. It's what he did for Keaton Slovis. 14 is Treylin Brooks, who also fell. Apparently he had 3 straight. So Garrett Wilson was 9 before. I think Drake London was 10. Where is he? Drake London at 10. Yeah, and then Treylin Brooks at 11. But now it's Treylin Brooks is at 14. Burks is so versatile. Like I think I've said it before on mock drafts that I just don't upload because I don't like him. He does so many short routes. But he can still go up and get it. Not go up and get it, but he can go deep. He's a deep threat. He is a run after the catch type. Sort of like Kadarius Toney, but just with like better hands. I mean, Toney didn't have many concentration drops, but I think Burks is definitely more reliable for Arkansas. Burks is a very, very good player. And again, these 3 guys, I wouldn't be shocked to see them go in the first round because I think those would be tremendously good picks. As number 15, I don't like Derek Stingley Jr. I don't like him as a player. I don't like how he's just like, it's like Zeke. It's a bad comparison, but Ezekiel Elliott has gone from amazing to just good in 5 years, right? Or maybe 6 years at this point. Derek Stingley Jr., it's the same thing with him. Freshman, great. There it is. There it is. This is what I'm saying right here. Freshman year was great. The next 2 years, not so much. And I've put up with this guy for a long time now, but I think I finally had my last straw, especially with seeing him falling down many people's draft boards. He's not going any higher on mine. As you got George Karlaftis at 16. I don't like George. I think I've said it as much as I've said Derek Stingley Jr., though, because I only say this in mock drafts that I don't upload for whatever reason. I'm a weird person. But George Karlaftis, in Madden terms, he's a power rusher. But I don't think he's a guy who generates pressure, right? But sometimes he gets locked onto blocks, and I don't like him as much as David Ojabo. Karlaftis could go high, he could go low. It's going to be really interesting to see where he goes in the draft because he's a really interesting player. He got a lot of hype at the beginning of the year, and I think he's stayed like that until a lot of people just started to, drop the hype. As you go to number 17, Jordan Davis. Now, I wouldn't have him as high on this list because he doesn't play all the snaps for Georgia because they're rotating between Devontae Wyatt, another dude, I don't know his name, and Jordan Davis. But Davis is a big player. He's like 330, about 330, and he's a big monster. Talk about Brandon Williams. I think I would compare him to Brandon Williams. Jordan Davis is not a sack guy, he's a run stopper guy. That's what he's going to be doing, I think, for the Chargers in the league. I think that's where he's going to get drafted. And I think the Chargers would love to have a player like him coming, in the center of their defensive line. He could be a 3-4 nose tackle, but I think personally, since Georgia operates in a 4-3 with a rotational defensive lineman, I don't know, 5 tech. I don't know what that means. I'm not that much of an expert. All I know is, people and how to watch draft prospects. But Jordan Davis is a really talented player. Again, I think Devontae Wyatt's better. It's a very unpopular opinion at this point. But Jordan Davis is a very good player. David Ojabo at 18. It just, I'm dying. I'm dying. What was that voice crack? David Ojabo, again, same thing with Jermaine Johnson. We're banking on his potential. He is very new to the game of football. It's not a fair argument for him, though, because when he was on the gridiron, he was amazing. He put up amazing numbers, put up great sacks. Pressurizing was a weird stat. I don't know if he pressurized the quarterback too much, but as his athleticism off the edge, I think Odafe Owe has taught us a lesson. And that is athletic edge rushers could be really good in the NFL. I think that could be the same thing with David Ojabo, except he actually put up sacks in his college years. Dax Hill at 19. Weird pick because I think he's really versatile. Like, right there. It's a beginning. He plays corner and safety. Corner and safety. There it is. I mean, I'm not even reading this stuff. He plays corner and safety. He's very versatile. A team like the Cowboys, I think, personally, would be very lucky to get Dax Hill at 24 because he's a really good player. 20, Kyler Gordon. Wow. Like, just in this video, I was telling you that I don't think Kyler Gordon's a first-round guy. I think I see a lot of flaws in Kyler Gordon's game that really make me take him down my draft board. But he's a very good player. Very good player. And, you know, I think he's just a good boundary corner option. Just alongside Trent McDuffie. He has let up some big plays. But I think he's a very talented player. Kenyan Green at 21, another versatile player. There it is. Dude, 4 of the 5 offensive line positions in 2021. What do you mean? He's played right tackle. I know he's done that. He's played right guard. Probably played left guard and left tackle. I don't see him playing center. 6'4", 325 beast out of Texas A&M. Really, really good player. I think he should be higher on this list, honestly. 22, Tyler Linderbaum. He's a good center, best center in the draft. Probably the best interior offensive lineman in the draft. Again, unless you consider Ika Mekwonu to be an interior offensive lineman. So, wow, okay. You know what? Let's just do 2 in a row. So, Trevor Penning is over Charles Cross. Charles Cross is a really good pass blocker, and that's because of Mississippi State's, what's it called? That air something scheme, air raid or whatever it is, airhead. It's definitely air raid. Air raid scheme. Charles Cross is really, really good at pass blocking. Trevor Penning is a better athlete, in my opinion. I think he could be more well-rounded than Charles Cross is in the league. Right now, I think he's a very good athlete. He's a big player. He's a big mauler. Really do like him. Cross, I also like. Just, you know, I think they're very, very different players. They're not even close. Not even close, I think, to being the same players. Jahan Dotson at 25. I would have had him lower. Way lower. I was behind this guy since the beginning of my mock drafts. I can tell you that for a fact. Let's take a look at my first mock draft. Because Jahan Dotson was my first ever YouTube mock draft. Yeah, this is a thing that I did. There it is. 2022 NFL Mock Draft 1.0. Ignore the Spencer Rattler. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. It's... Oh, man. Okay. Drake Jackson at 9. I'm just, like, revisiting these picks, bro. Carson Strong in the first round. Kingsley Enagbare. Christian Harris. Jalen Weidermeyer. That's right. But I believe I had the Saints picking him at some point in my life. I did. Was it Trimp 21 2.0? It must have been. Yeah, there it is. Number 20. It was September 27th that I had Jahan Dotson marked as a first rounder. I don't think he's as good as anymore, but I certainly do think he's a very special athlete, and I think he's going to give you the numbers, just like Drake London. He's going to give you some. He's going to give you some numbers. He's a very reliable target, just like a lot of receivers are on this list. Why is Jameson Williams not appearing? I'm still wondering that. Olave is really, you know, people have died off on him quite a bit. Olave used to be considered like the top receiver in the draft by many, and now he's sort of fallen off. But, listen, he's a good athlete, has been used on screens before I've seen it. Very, very good elite route running in this class. Has great potential in the league. 27, there's Jameson Williams. Yeah, I mean, he's a one-year wonder. We'll see how he does in the league. Explosive. He's only a deep threat. That's what he does. He goes deep. He catches bombs from Bryce Young. Here's the thing. In the NFL, you're going to be dealing with more athletic corners with maybe worse quarterbacks than how Bryce Young is performing. Not maybe, definitely, because Bryce Young is a stud. I really do like how Bryce Young's been playing so far. But Jameson Williams isn't going to have the best situation all the time. That's because deep threat. He's a deep threat. And only a deep threat. You know? He's a decent route runner. He's decent at everything else. He can run down the field, get open, catch the ball, and run into the end zone. That's what he does for Alabama. It's very valuable, but you can't expect him to be amazing in the league just yet. Because other than being a one-year wonder, his style of play could not fit into the league very, very well. As Kenny Pickett, yeah. I hate Kenny Pickett. Yeah, a lot of advancements have been done for my draft content. I hate Kenny Pickett. He is good, not, I think below good at everything, and a lot of dump-offs. Lots of dump-offs. And very, very tight spiral, which in some cases may be good, but other times it may be bad. Because, I mean, you're counting a lot on your receivers there, man. Pickett doesn't have a great arm. Pickett doesn't have great accuracy. I mean, he's okay at that. He just gave the numbers, and that is why he rose up so much. Kenny Pickett is the same player, just with more developed things at everything else. He developed in every single thing just a little bit, and he got the opportunity to throw touchdowns. I don't think Kenny Pickett's a great guy. If you disagree, let me know why in the comments, please. I don't like him. Devontae Wyatt should be higher on this list. Pass rusher. This is what he does on the interior of the defensive line. He's not going to give you the sacks, but he's going to give you the pressure. He's going to give you, I think, pretty good athleticism for the position. And look at him, man. How can you not be feared of this guy? Devontae Wyatt's great. Tyler Smith. I'm sorry, I've never actually seen Tyler Smith before, so I can't really comment on that one. Andrew Booth. Booth is a good player. I don't know why a lot of people are really down on him. I think he's a mid-first round guy, right? At the worst, he falls to the early second round, where I think a team would be drooling to get their hands on him. On the second round, though. But Andrew Booth Jr., very, very good player. Again, another target, just like Dax Hill, who I think could go to Dallas, because they both help cornerback. Guys, we got Malik Willis at 32. Senior Bowl hype is there. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I'm not going to hide it from you. Malik Willis is a stud. I've always liked Malik Willis. It's just potential. It depends on where his potential ranks, and that's why he's not in a lot of my mock drafts, you know? And he did have that part of the season where he just fell off and didn't do much. 33, Boye Mafe. Very interesting. Boye Mafe is a good player. I think he's been getting a lot of hype recently. I think he's a second-round player. And again, just like Peyton Turner, I think he could be a fringe first-round guy. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's talented enough to be, but a team could like his potential. And that is why he could go in the first round. There it is. See, this is why he's getting a lot of hype. The Senior Bowl affects so much of how teams look at players. As he got to 34, Matt Corral. Corral is a very interesting player because I think he fits well with some teams and doesn't at all with others. He needs he's going to be on a team that can utilize his big arm and his legs. Best team for him right now, in my opinion, either Carolina, which is going to be a really high reach, or he goes to Washington. I think those are their best places. Why? Panthers, they have DJ Moore. They have Robbie Anderson, both very good deep threats, very good versatile players. They had a guy like Cam Newton for 8 or 9 seasons. He's a running type. Matt Corral can easily be utilized. I think that's the perfect offense for him. Now, he does need to get out of that RPO game, but, you know, quick passes, stuff like that, but really good player. And then football team, they just don't need to start a quarterback right away. Forgot to mention, Carolina doesn't either. Plus, they have guys like Terry McLaurin. Antonio Gibson's a great receiving back. Curtis Samuel's a very good deep threat and another versatile player. Matt Corral can make use of those, and he doesn't have to start right away. The same thing with Carolina. I think those are the best situations for Corral at this point. Breece Hall, I don't think he's the best running back in the class. I think Isaiah Spiller is, followed by Kenneth Walker and then Breece Hall. Breece Hall's a good player. Built like a bowling ball, basically, but like a taller and more stretched out bowling ball. I don't know. He plays like a bowling ball, but he's not averaging much per carry. And if he is, he's getting a lot. He is not a versatile player. He's a pound and run kind of guy. If you like that kind of player, you like Breece Hall. I personally like players who can average yards, a lot more yards per carry than Breece Hall does. Hall was the leading rusher in 2020. Breece Hall was so good in 2020. Want to take a look at it? Here it is. Okay. Breece Hall. Here it is. All right. 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. Now, he did average 5.8 per carry. Stats don't always show his game. All right? Trust me. You will say, you will be like, oh my God, why don't you like this guy? He's so good. I don't like his style of play. It's my personal opinion. I don't like how he plays. I don't like how he's not very versatile at both games. It's the same thing with Kenneth Walker. It's why he's not my number 1 running back in the league. Or class. There's Isaiah Spiller, who apparently fell. Spiller is a very explosive player. He's fast. He's, I don't like to say it, but he could be Dalvin Cook. I would go for a much faster running back. He is useful in the receiving game. I really like him. Spiller is my best running back in the class, as he has Bernhard Raimann. I don't know much about Bernhard Raimann, so just like Tyler Smith, can't really say much about him. Jalen Petrie at 38. Okay, it's an interesting one. Jalen Petrie could go in the top of the second round. I think, in fact, that's where he is going to go. Very, very good player for Baylor. I'm going to say that for a lot because you can clearly say that if I jump into this exact same situation that they are in, I'm not going to do any good. So everyone's a very good player. Travis Jones out of Connecticut. I've not actually seen Travis Jones, but I've seen what he can do. He's a run stopper. But he's very, very good. He's a very good player from what I've seen of him. I've not seen much, but I have seen some stuff. Quay Walker at 40. I'm not so high as on Quay Walker. I think Quay Walker and Channing Tindall are probably like equal players. Not at, their style of play, but I think where they rank on my board. So Quay Walker and Channing Tindall, not similar players, but similarly ranked players. As let's just do 2 in a row. Zion Johnson. Why is Arnold Ebiketie at 24 in the first place? But Zion Johnson has really been rising up people's draft board. Senior Bowl, I'm pretty sure. And then Arnold Ebiketie is a very big playmaker. That's all he is. He's a big playmaker. It's a do-or-die kind of thing, He's down at 42. I like that ranking. I think that's a very accurate ranking for how Arnold Ebiketie can shape up to be in the league. DeMarvin Leal. I don't like Leal. I've stated my case. He was so... And I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but he was so bad compared to his sophomore year at Texas A&M. And it wasn't even close. I mean, Leal in his sophomore year was athletic. He can pressurize the quarterback, run stop really well. Now, he's gotten to a guy who gets sacks, but doesn't pressure as often, doesn't run stop as well. He really just fell off in a lot of the charts for me this year. It wasn't very impressive to see DeMarvin Leal play. He was a really exciting player coming into the league, into this year, but I think he has definitely fallen off, and I think he's a second-round player. Christian Harris at 44, another guy who really just fell off. He's a big playmaker. He's a big player. He plays big. He is a New England Patriots player if I've ever seen one. And I would not be shocked if he goes to the first round to the New England Patriots. Or I would also not be shocked if the Patriots trade out of the first round. It's because it's what they do. Alright, 45, Perrion Winfrey. Now, I actually think he's a bit better than DeMarvin Leal because I'm basing it on his potential. I think he's extremely raw, but with his potential in the league, he could be so good. Pass rushing. Anything you really want him to do, Perrion Winfrey could be there, and he's going to be really good. Never heard of him ever in my life. Sam Howell at 47. he's not a bad player, alright? He's just not amazing. I think he's better than Kenny Pickett. I think Matt Corral is better than him. Sam Howell is a weird player. I mean, he has good accuracy, but it's the scheme. It's how it translates to the NFL. It's really interesting. As Logan Hall, the guy who I've not seen right here is Cameron Thomas, who I really do like as a versatile playmaker at edge and IDL. But Logan Hall is very explosive. He is relentless to get after the quarterback. Very, very talented player. And then, I mean, these two, Daniel Faalele could be a first-round guy if you are looking for a pure right tackle. Yeah, 6'9", 380, man. He's just big. It's why he's so high. It's why he's such a good player. He's a big boy. Then Kaiir Elam, he really did fall. But, you know what? He's a very good player. He's very physical, though. And, you know what? That's all I can say on Kaiir Elam. McCreary apparently fell out. Max Mitchell, why was he in there in the first place? Pedarian Mathis, Isaiah Likely, Lewis Sine. These rankings, though, they were very, very good. I think he did a very, very, good order. There are some players that I would like to see higher, and some players that I'd like to see lower, but overall, the order, it depends on the order of each position on where they're ranked. And I think he's done a really, really good job of that. So, Daniel Jeremiah did really well on his top 50 NFL big board. But, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. A pretty long video at that for, what I've been... my previous video was an hour and 11 minutes long. What can you say? But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next video.